It was 2005, 2006 when men walked up to me in Mosul, Iraq. I was standing next to our vehicle and they approached. They had no insignia. They had camouflage fatigues on. And they asked me where the weak points on my vehicle were. And I said it before, I realized as things go on, that these interactions you experience as you go on through life, I would like to, I guess, send this message to them. I stand corrected. The threat will always come from within, or the weakness is often within. Up, down, AA, left, right, B, down, down. I hope that's right.
Say no.
Top secret jobs, certain things like that. I mean, it's kind of hard in today's day and age to keep a lot of that stuff secret and still be social. You are allowed to tell people where you work, right? Like, for example, if you work at a national security complex, or it's not illegal to tell someone you work for
Y12, for example, or the army, or you work at the Pentagon, you work, even at the
CIA. You're allowed to tell people you work for the CIA. It's the details you give those people we're allowed to give people. And even then, if you work for the NSA or the CIA or any national security thing where you have secret clearances, or even in the corporate civilian world, it can be frowned upon when you go out talking and telling people about what you do, where you do, where you do it, what you're, stuff like that. With that being said, like I said, it's not. It depends on who you talk to and what you do and what details you give. So I was able to learn a lot about a specific national security complex during the course of my time at a organization. I was able to compile a list of names, retired and current employees, titles held, and projects worked on. Whether or not it was bait or decoys, because we're on a level. There are levels where there's information that is put out or withheld for good reason. Now, that being said, we're here today to see if some of this information is true, and I'm allowed to do this stuff. I am paid to do some of this stuff, and I do play the opposition sometimes, and I do play the other side, right? I mean, it's part of my job, my role as opposition, and I don't always play the opposition, right? And this is all for good reason. And just because someone tells you they're in the government or work for the government doesn't mean they're good people, doesn't mean they're doing the right thing. So keep that in mind, right? That being said, I'm going to give you a day in the life story about what I've been up to and what's going on. Over the course of about 2 years, I was able to compile a list of locations, national security locations, personnel, retired and active personnel, projects worked on, developments. So whether the information that was handed out at this place was intentional or unintentional, we still have roles to play, and I am playing the opposition. So we are going to see if some of this information is true. And today we are at this specific, we're in the general location of where some of these shipments will be leaving soon, and apparently they're guarded or being escorted by Navy SEALs. So far the information from crew leader 1, 2, and Tree has been pretty spot on. We were able to get into this location before, and right now we're staged outside. So soon, I mean, any minute now, I'm gonna eat lunch, but if we can get eyes on this team and this transport and identify the SEALs involved with this escort, I think that it'll be a win-win for me. Roles within the complex, the national security complex, departments, job titles, a few loopholes I was able to infiltrate, or ways to get into this complex, and whether or not this was true or false or bait, whatever, we all have roles to play, you know, whether it was decoy or...
Alright, we're working on some disguises here. We're trying to get eyes on this SEAL team and transport heading south. I believe this one's heading south from this national security complex. Now, I got this information from a national security employee, or this complex, national security complex employee, and I was also able to compile a list of names. Hold on. Damn it!
That's probably better. That's probably better. I was able to compile a list of names, personnel, current and retired personnel that worked at this specific national security complex. They had various roles throughout the community. Some of it, you know, in the science field, science sector, you know, studying. How many times can I say repeat a word, like, you know, or stuff like that. Anyways, I was able to compile this information over the course of 2 years, from, we'll just say, crew leader 1, 2, and Tree, and some of the intel that I collected is actually very accurate and true. I've been able to get into this national security complex on one occasion, and I have been able to identify specific vehicles and transports from this location. Now, today we are looking to see if we can get eyes on and identify the security escort, which I've been told are either active duty Navy SEALs or retired Navy SEALs.
So I'm not saying I work for any of these places. For all intents and purposes, I'm Joe Schmo. I'm a veteran and humanitarian. So I'm going to upload part 1 before the transport leaves the facility.